Arr, shiver me timbers! This is Captain Brian speaking from Awful Movie Reviews.
The time has come for your promotion. Or should I say demotion?
You know, it will always astonish me how some movie scenarios get greenlit when they are so bland, so unoriginal, and so unimpactful.
I suppose we'll never know the answer to that.
Thus is the case with The Incredible Petrified World. While I was doing some internet sleuthing, I saw someone call this film a non-movie, and I think it's a perfect way to describe it. This really is a non-movie. There isn't a single movie in sight in this movie. This is 63 minutes of an absolute lie, from beginning to end, and it all starts with the title. Apart from being incredibly shitty, there is nothing incredible about this deep-water sci-fi turd.
Well, it could be that too.
And as for the petrified part, let's just say I've gotten scarier grades than this.
I hope you enjoyed the pictures. We had a great time filming them.
But before we set sail for the vast unknown, if you wouldn't mind liking, sharing this review, and subscribing to my channel, it would help me a lot. Don't hesitate to recommend me a bad 50s sci-fi flick. And if you value what I do and you want to help support me, please check out my Patreon in the description below.
And you're gonna start doing a few things my way.
The Incredible Petrified World starts out as a documentary about marine wildlife, which is actually kinda cool, like that scene where the octopus and the shark are fighting. Best part of the movie if you ask me. Because yes, if you were wondering, there is no attractive female character attacked by a giant octopus in this film. That's just a big lie. How they somehow got away with that promotional material will forever bedevil me.
I'm sorry you don't share our enthusiasm.
But we'll get back to that later. Anyway, it turns out that we were watching a documentary watched by the characters of this film. A group of scientists enter a diving bell and explore the deepest parts of the ocean ever known to mankind. Unfortunately for them, the diving bell snaps and the team sinks down into the ocean depth. Everyone manages to get out okay, and the unlucky crew finds their way into a series of underwater caves where they meet some old hermit who's doing a very good job at rocking the fakest beard ever known to Hollywood, and a severely overweight lizard which desperately needs to get some of that treadmill sweat.
When I need your advice, I'll ask for it.
How did it even get down there? If you're expecting a big, scary monster to come and terrorize our crew members, well, think again, because there are no monsters in sight here. Instead, we have to sit through boring conversations, characters wandering back and forth through the cave, and, the occasional, not-so-occasional melodrama.
Craig said this. Craig said that. Craig said. What is he around here anyway? Some kind of monarch or something?
So that's it. You're not getting all the attention.
Whoever was in charge of selecting the music must have really had a fun time changing up the genres. The movie changes music so randomly, it's impossible to not notice. It starts with creepy 1950s stock music, which would be later reused in movies like Teenagers from Outer Space, or most notably, Night of the Living Dead. And then the score switches all of a sudden to a modern MIDI orchestrated one. Another weird production issue this movie has is the brightness of the black and white. The screen will lighten up all of a sudden and then darken back again. It's so strange.
Perhaps we can find the answers to many of these questions.
The scientist played by Phyllis Coates was probably all sour because the actress actually never got paid. She never received a single paycheck for her role. What kind of a fat rest in peace is that?
How long have you been out of air? Only a few minutes. I've got some coffee.
Yep, you can always count on coffee to save your life, even if you're deprived of oxygen and can't breathe. But to be fair, these people really don't seem to be that bothered about being stuck in an underwater cavern forever.
I know how you feel, as though you have nothing to look forward to, but I felt the same way until I realized how really fortunate I am. Lori, I've been in love with you for a long time. I planned to tell you before now, I never seemed to be able to.
Really?
You'd think there would be more urgent matters, but apparently not. The only redeeming quality here, and even then I'm trying to find one, is that John Carradine basically carries what is already a very vapid and almost non-existing plotline.
Since I returned from the Caribbean, I've been like a man who was living apart from his own soul.
Once again, he sacrificed his image as an A-list actor to star in clunkers like this.
I suppose I shouldn't make a fool of myself.
Another noteworthy name attached to this not-so-noteworthy film is Robert Clark. He was kind of like a lesser-known John Agar, having starred in several 50s low-budget sci-fi B-movies himself. Several of them which I've already reviewed in the past, like The Astounding She-Monster or The Hideous Sun Demon.
At this point, I couldn't care less.
You remember earlier how I was bitching about there not being a monster? Well, initially, one was planned. They had the suit and all, but last minute the creature effects were deemed too stupid looking. And that's really saying something when it comes from a guy like Jerry Warren, who is notorious for having directed some of the most atrocious monstrosities known to mankind, like Frankenstein's Island. So yeah, if even he thought it looked bad, then I'm definitely taking his word for it.
Well, sir, I don't know exactly what I saw.
The production crew actually wrapped this motion picture up back in 1957, but nobody was willing to release this flick, so it was shelved for 2 years before being released as a double feature with another Jerry Warren flick, Teenage Zombies. Ugh. It was shown in Texas and in a few other southern theaters, but apart from that, The Incredible Petrified World didn't get an incredibly wide release, and it sure as shit didn't petrify a whole lot of people.
I guess not.
Gee, I sure wonder why that could be. So overall, when we're talking about 1950s sci-fi films, it's hard to get more flavorless and dumber than this. And on that note, what an incredibly awful movie.